There's a blockbuster film, maybe many of you have seen it, it's called Interstellar, dealing with the end of the earth as we know it. And there's another film, a disaster film that's coming up. It's called San Andreas. Dwayne Johnson is in that film living in the devastation of an earthquake. And he said this when he was interviewed. He said, the most incredible thing I found out doing the research was just how overdue for a massive earthquake we are, like 100 years overdue. It's incredible and scary as H-E-double-L. It sounds like a movie line, but it's not a matter of when, but if. Now, in 2014, a scientist, Dr. Lucy Jones, gave a dire warning to the Los Angeles City Council on the effects of an earthquake. I'm quoted. She said, infrastructure crippled, power grid, communications knocked out, water supply disrupted, 1,800 fatalities, 53,000 injured, and one half of our buildings will be unusable. Now, 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ foretold the end of the age. He also told us not just about earthquakes, but about Jerusalem being surrounded by armies. Think of Iran today working aggressively to develop their nuclear bomb. What a catastrophic event it will be when there's war in the Middle East, the gas supplies in the Straits of Hormuz that are crippled, 20% of our gas supply. Now, Jesus gave warning also about pestilences and diseases. And think of airborne Ebola and the poor southern border. Is it going to take another stock market crash, global economic collapse? All of these things are present-day realities. Do we see the handwriting on the wall that we are at an apocalyptic, unprecedented tipping point? We're spiraling into a lawless culture. And you know, I have a wife who's German. You look at Germany. They were an educated and civilized nation, but in 6 years they went from democracy to dictatorship and demise. 6 years. Now, the book of Revelation in chapter 9 says there's going to be a cataclysmic event that will kill a third of mankind. A third. Imagine, World War II was 50 million. This will mean 2.5 billion people worldwide, 110 million Americans killed. Now, Jesus Christ predicted fearful events, a time of punishment, men's hearts failing them with fear. And many believe 9/11 was our wake-up call, but we've hit the snooze alarm. On Sunday, December 7th, 1941, 300 Japanese airplanes came into Pearl Harbor, 2,400 servicemen and women. What happened? They lost their lives. World War II began for America. But was this disaster a surprise? No, because an hour away, 2 American soldiers, they were seeing dots on the screen. They told their supervisor, and he shrugged it off with a kind of a ho-hum, well, don't worry about it. Here's the deal. Unlike that foolish supervisor, we need to awaken to the reality that America has forgotten God. We've drifted, and it's time to turn back to Him. The clock is ticking. You know, when Jesus Christ walked this earth, He told His followers these words. He said, when the evening comes, you say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And then in the morning, today it'll be stormy, for the sky is red and overcast. You know how to interpret the appearance of the sky, but you cannot interpret the signs of the times. That was a jolt to them as they listened. And today we need a jolt. America is in a serious meltdown. We've drifted from our Judeo-Christian foundations. The magnitude of evil is unprecedented. You know, if you think about this, I sat one day with a manager of a restaurant after Hurricane Katrina. And he told me as a boy he grew up and they heard about the levees were one day going to break, and they laughed. One day they did, but it was too late. Is this what's happening in America today? You know, to see how far we've fallen, how fast we've fallen as well, let's kind of survey the scene for a minute. Take a kind of Rip Van Winkle look over 15 items that should awaken us today. Let's think about the Titanic for a minute. On its maiden voyage from Bridgeport to New York, it was called the unsinkable vessel, but it slipped beneath the icy waters. And you know, such a large loss of life didn't have to happen. Less than 20 miles away, there was a ship called the Californian. It sat stationary and it had the capacity to save multiple hundreds of lives. Why didn't it? Because someone ignored the potential for danger and turned off the radio. 1,513 lives were lost. Now here's the deal. Disaster is coming to our shores. Imminent judgment as well. It's time we turn back to God. It's not too late.